Bonjour Philippe, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you.
So I'm so glad we're catching up after time flies, like quite a few months. Last time we met in London in February.
That's
so
right.
it's like what, 9 months ago. So I can't believe it went so quickly.
Yeah.
So congratulations, I think we've done a lot in the last few months. Personally, you've got some great news, okay, which is great, thank you for sharing with me. And also at work, so Jumio has been pretty busy winning a lot of awards and launching new solutions. So
Right.
if you don't mind, I'm going to just very quickly, congratulations for the silver winner of the 2019 Golden Bridge Awards for your video selfie authentication solution, if I'm right. Congratulations to your 2019 Cyber Defense Global
Yes.
Awards, see, I've done the research, a leader in authentication and most innovative in biometrics, no less. And last but not least, for the second consecutive year, Gartner, the market guide for identity proofing and corroboration, flagged you as a representative leader. So again, congratulations for the good stuff.
Thank you very much.
Could you please maybe talk about that, especially the Gartner bit, why they chose you as a leader in that category?
Right. So in general, when it comes to identity proofing and authentication, what we've basically launched at the Finaway the last time we talked to each other was that these two parts, the onboarding and the ongoing authentication, they more and more become one and need to become kind of part of the same solution rather than two different things. And that's part of what Gartner is calling out and why they are interested in our solution especially, is because we really support that vision also that Gartner has for the future of identity corroboration and authentication. We're pretty much aligned essentially with our product development in what they think where the market is going, which is good news for us, but it also kind of counter-validates some of the thinking and the points in a way, right?
So you're very close to them, yeah, and I think that's the right way anyway. That's the direction where a lot of companies should go to, and certainly financial institutions need such solutions.
Absolutely.
Could you please tell us more about the concept of certified liveness detection?
Mm-hmm.
So from, of course, Jumio standpoint.
Right. So the idea here is that with liveness, we can really scare the fraudsters away big time. So now when we check for identity, which is we get a government issued ID and a selfie of the consumer, we not only check that the face that the consumer is presenting is the same face as on the ID, which kind of closes that loop, but we can also make sure that it's not a photo, it's not a screen, it's not a playback attack, it's really a real life person that matches to what is on the government issued ID. The reason we always put certified in front is because we use one of the very few technologies out there that are certified by an independent party against the biometric standards of presentation attack detection, which is covered in an ISO standard, which is also endorsed by NIST here in the United States. And that's what makes it special, is we're not just claiming that we do proper liveness detection, we actually have proper certification for it.
So thank you. We're gonna talk in a few minutes about the product you're launching. But
Yes.
if we step back, like authentication, fraud, so KYC in banking, and the advent of AI and cheap fake and deep fake, which is quite concerning when you think about it. So if we step back a bit, in the last 12 months, like 84% roughly like increase in terms of deep fake videos, according to Deep Trace, the agency. A lot of it is apparently porn videos or whatever, so not exactly what we concerns us necessarily in banking, but also the impact on the vote, the elections in 2020. So it's still a big issue, right? In
Absolutely.
That, in the era of again AI. So what's your view on that actually, and what's the potential impact in the banking industry and us as consumers?
Yeah. So what we see in general in fraud and the fraudsters and the fraud attempts that we see is that it becomes more technology driven, where in the past the fraudsters would kind of go low tech and try to craft a cheap plastic ID together and try to get to pass with that. Now, as we raise the bar and we have things like a certified liveness detection, we just talked about, they really need to kind of step up their game, and that's what we also see, is that it becomes systematic, it becomes more technology driven, and we need to keep up with that. So that's our job, that's what we do.
And you believe you're at the forefront of that in an industry which is still booming, the RegTech industry.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy the number of new players, but
that's right.
you're constantly like pushing the envelope again.
Right.
To not just again being like having the right solutions involving a bit of manual processing, but the next step is to be fully real-time and fully automated, I believe. So again, could you please talk us through then the new offer you're launching, right? I think officially here.
Absolutely. So today, this morning, freshly hatched, so to say,
Yes.
we've unveiled our new product. It's called Jumio Go, and it's our first real-time, totally driven by AI product. And we're really excited. It's still in a beta phase, and so we're inviting existing customers and also future customers to enlist into the beta. On our website, jumio.com/go, people can sign up for the beta program, and we're really excited about it. It takes us a step closer to that vision that proper identity proofing should be fully automated. We all know that as of this current moment, no one has cracked this nut. It's still something where you need a human to counteract the fraudsters if you really need to know who people are in the real world, if you're a regulated business, if you have a very high value assets on the line. But there are many use cases out there where companies don't have that super need for, we need to have a bulletproof solution, but it can be a little bit more on the convenient side for the consumer, and it also helps them with managing their risk in a way where previously they wouldn't ask for an ID. Now they can, because it's a real-time event. It doesn't break the user experience, and it's definitely something that we're excited to bring to the market.
Okay, but that's very exciting actually. I've got a lot of questions, but first of all, if we step back about that technology, I believe you leverage and you're at the forefront of AI, OCR, and biometrics. Am I correct?
That's right. That's
could you please tell us a bit more about why is it so forward-thinking or like incredible as a
So for
service?
Jumio Go, we're really bringing together three of the superpowers, so to say. One is the machine learning algorithms for ID verification. So this is purely about the question, is this piece of plastic or this passport authentic or not? And what the differentiator we have there is that we just see so much data in our traditional product. We have millions and millions of transactions coming through on a weekly basis, and we can tap into some of that data to drive our machine learning models, and that's been really successful and really exciting. So that's a big benefit. The second is our ability to do this match of the person that just captured the selfie with the person that is printed on the document. So that's an important step to close that loop on who's indeed in front of the screen. And then the last one is the certified liveness detection, which is kind of driven by biometrics and is a fairly new technology in the way that we use it here. And these three combined create a solution that is fully automated and really gives that real-time experience to the consumer.
So you're in beta, you said, right?
Yes.
So customers can register already, as you said, to get access to that platform. So what's next? And are you going to be in beta for a long while? Like it's one of those like new trends, it's always on beta, but it's still reliable and potentially on a commercial level as well. What's your vision for 2020 for that specific platform? And what are your goals, if you can share anything in terms of penetration with customer base or anything you can share?
So what we want is at least a handful of customers to use it with real life traffic. Okay. We basically already know what the performance is going to be because we let it see all the other traffic that comes through in our standard product. And so we have great visibility of how it does and how many of the valid customers do we accept, how many fraudsters do we catch. But to really see it used in a real world scenario is something different. And with something so fundamental, we felt that it's better to kind of take it slow a little bit. But earlier next year, we're going to move it to a full public launch where everybody's going to have access.
Next year? So by the end of 2020, for sure?
Beginning
even, sorry, beginning.
Yeah. Early next year.
No, I need to quote you because Jumio or the press release, because it's very important, I think. So Jumio Go beta, as you said, so real-time, fully automated identity verification solution. You mentioned very well. Secure, it's a secure, reliable way to verify remote users. Yeah, the term reliable, of course, is of the essence there. It's very critical. And again, based on what we discussed, that's truly your goal, actually, to be 100% reliable, or at least meet the level, satisfactory level of risk at scale, again, in a cost-effective manner for your clients. Okay.
I mean, now there's still gonna be trade-offs, right? So we're not giving up our standard product. There is still a place for it, especially with kind of high street banking and challenger. Everybody who's regulated probably is gonna use our standard product. But even within that world, there are use cases where maybe if you're just enrolling a spouse to an account, maybe if you have a kid added to a credit card, right? Those might be use cases where you can already use Jumio Go. And the trade-off is it's going to be interesting to see what kind of industries and what kind of use cases are picking up on the Jumio Go versus our standard offering. So that's something we're also excited to see.
No, it's great to hear that. I love your positioning, which is potentially to be able to offer customer clients who are not using any kind of verifications for specific use cases because it would be too expensive or doesn't really make sense. It's a nice use case actually to be able to use that in a cost-effective way and yet being quite robust to add value. In terms of credibility as well, I guess, for their customer base and being able to claim that they're even more secure and
so we really see it as an expansion of our addressable market. We don't think that any of our current customers are really going to switch to Jumio Go. Because otherwise they wouldn't have purchased from us previously, probably. But the long-term vision and one of the big reasons why we launched Jumio Go now was to also set this as a baseline and then work towards the standard offering in terms of quality and close that gap over the coming years. And I think that's the future that we all envision, is a real-time, fully automated, AI-driven identity verification based on government-issued IDs. We still think that that's the right route of identity. That's the one we should go to. It's also the one that people know best from the real world. If you check in at the hotel, you're handing over your ID, right? And in the same way, if you open an account online, as when you do it in a brick-and-mortar office, it should be the same experience for the consumer, something they understand, something they buy into.
It's all about experience, as you said, and anything which helps it make being frictionless, or at least giving a sense of safety, or it's even more robust. Or I think that would help drive customer experience and satisfaction as well, and not only reduce the risk. But okay, we talk about Jumio Go. It's a great new announcement. So again, the RegTech market is booming on so many levels. Anyway, in 2020. Right. What are the key trends you see, you as an individual, an expert in that field, actually, in the online verification industry? What else do you see? So it's AI, automation, but
right. So I mean, in general, in terms of market trends, what we see a little bit is a trend towards consolidation. So if you think about it, all of the risk and fraud tools, the account opening tools. Things like PEPs and sanctions checks, so screening for blacklists, it's all part of the same thing somehow, and yet a lot of it is still offered by different companies. There are some aggregators, there are some integrators that offer combined solutions, but it's still, from an experience point of view, these things are not integrated where it's a true 1 + 1 = 3 type solution, and this is what slowly now we're getting to. So a consumer location service, for example, if it's combined with an ID verification check, we can use the location of the consumer and compare it with the issuing country of the document, and that might also be something that is a signal, right? And so I think that's what we are seeing, is that a lot of these different solutions that are all kind of in the same area of identity, KYC, risk, fraud, it's all blurring together at the moment.
It's funny you say that. When I started my career in London back in 2002, I used to work in the anti-money laundering and international payment field, so KYC and then international payment screening and customer identification. So you're right, I mean, it's very fragmented, but it seems fair and obvious that there's so many synergies that it would make a lot of sense to have some kind of almost central, unified, robust, functional way to at scale minimize risk, fraud, and improve the customer experience, including onboarding, which is critical, not just for fintech. thank you very much for your time. Maybe the last questions. Any specific market again, or markets you see next year, like having even more needs for whether Jumio Go or any kind of other innovative solutions? Is there any distinct like sub-segment, maybe, I don't know, in financial services you see as the most promising or in 2020?
I still think that Latin America and Asia are going to be the growth sectors for solutions like us and many others. I think there is a lot of potential for solutions that have global coverage, as companies in Asia are trying to break out of their own market and offer services on a global basis. And so I think that's another trend that we're going to see, is that there's going to be more overlap between the different geographies.
And I'm right to believe that you're investing as well, time, money, energy in Singapore and the region.
That's right. We have a sales office in Singapore now, and it's been really successful for us.
Okay, so APAC, Latin America, so hopefully you'll be able to spend a bit less time on the road next year for the great announcement or news. So thank you very much for spending some of your precious time today at Money 2020. I can just imagine how busy you are. Thank you very much, Philipp. All the best with Jumio Go and the rest, and hopefully we'll see each other soon in Europe, APAC or North America, who knows. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure.